Hey everyone! Today, we're diving into something that I think every single person watching the markets has struggled with. How in the world do you cut through all that noise to find a clear signal?
I mean, you know that feeling, right? You're looking at the charts, you're reading the headlines, and it feels like everything is pointing in a completely different direction. It's just a tangled, confusing mess.
But imagine for a second, what if you could just strip all of that chaos away? What if there was a tool that could give you a single, clear read on not just which way the trend is going, but how far along it is? Well, that is exactly what we're going to look at today. It's called the Unentangle indicator. And, its whole purpose is right there in the name, to unentangle all those mixed signals and just give you a straightforward look at an asset's trend. So to see how this thing actually works in the real world, we're going to walk through a daily report that it generated. This isn't just theory, this is a real snapshot of what the market was doing on one particular day.
Okay, so let's get into it. Here's the report for January 14th, 2026. Right away, you can see a bunch of familiar assets, right? SPY, Q2Q, gold, Bitcoin, Tesla. And for each one, you get a trend direction and this percent complete number. It looks like a lot, but it's actually really simple.
So how do we actually read this thing? It breaks down into three super simple parts. First, you've got the asset. That's just the thing we're looking at. Second, the trend. Pretty obvious. Is it going up or is it going down? And third, and this is the really crucial part, is the percent complete. This tells us how mature that trend is. A really high percentage means that trend is deep, it's well established. Now, just reading the numbers is one thing, but the real power, the real insight, comes from understanding the story that this data is telling us. So let's dig a little deeper and see what's actually going on here. And check this out. This slide is a perfect example of the kind of insights you can pull out. So, on this day, the broader market, the SPY, was in the pretty early stages of a downtrend. But at the very same time, the tech sector, the QQQ, was in an uptrend. That's a huge piece of information. It tells us that tech was moving completely against the grain of the wider market.
We can also use this to compare the strength of trends that are going in the same direction. So if we just look at the assets in a downtrend here, you can see a massive difference. SPY's downtrend was, just getting started at 33%, Bitcoin's was way more developed at over 70%, and then you have Tesla.
Wow, just look at the sheer strength of that one trend. Tesla's downtrend was over 83% complete. That's not a weak signal, that's not an uncertain signal. The indicator is basically screaming that this is a very strong, very mature move to the downside for that particular stock. And that's really the whole point. This isn't just a random collection of numbers. The unentangled indicator is designed to be a clear, actionable signal that just cuts right through all that market noise and tells you what's really happening with an asset's momentum. Now, probably the best part about all this is that it isn't some secret, exclusive tool. You can actually get your hands on it yourself and start looking for these same signals on the assets that you care about. Let's really quickly go over how you can do that. It is incredibly simple. All you have to do is go to TradingView, which so many people already use for charting, and just search for Unentangle in their indicator library. You can add it right to your own charts and start analyzing immediately. So we're going to end on this question. Because, look, having a tool that can potentially show you the direction and the strength of a trend, that's powerful. But having that clarity is just step one. The real question is, once you can see the trend this clearly, what's your next move? What do you do with that information?